Yo, and welcome back to the Banter Boys podcast. My name is Sanji. With me is Kyle and Ryan. How are you doing, boys?
Doing pretty good.
Yo, I'm enjoying this break. It wasn't scheduled, but you know what? I'll take it.
Did you actually do anything with the time off?
No, just catch up on work maybe.
What time off? Like fantasy or like Premier League being off on a weekend did not equate to time off.
Well, not everyone is playing 10,000 leagues like you.
True. I mean, yeah, the NFL started on the weekend, so I think the Premier League was always going to play second fiddle on last game week, I guess.
Do you have an NFL team, by the way, that you support?
Not really. I mean, I'd say my favorite team is probably the Seahawks, and then I'd say because of living in Toronto, people probably more likely support the Bills from here because it's in Buffalo.
Ah, right. Yeah. True. I thought you were gonna say like Toronto Argonauts or whatever.
Oh, that's CFL, and I mean it's football, but
that's true.
Is it?
No, it is. They just play with slightly different rules, but it's still football.
A slightly different shaped ball, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been weird without football, man. The Queen died. That was weird.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm like sad, but I don't want to say I'm happy. But we got a holiday, so I mean, yeah. Rest in peace, Queenie.
You can tell he's not from the UK, but
oh, me? Yeah, I'm an international student. Oh God, this is not good for my immigration, is it? All right, let's do social plugs before I make this worse. I'm gonna do that right here.
Yeah, for sure. So you can message us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handles at BanterB. On Discord in the Draft PL channel, Banter Boys #6585. On Reddit, /Banter_boys. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all under the name of Banter Boys.
All right. So I mean, quick request while I have you here after the whole socials. If you can, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, would you mind hitting us a 5 stars? Drop us a review. Wherever you are, drop us a follow. Kyle managed to dig up our stats and stuff, so I'm quite happy with all the support we've been getting so far. Just keep spreading the word. Let's see how far we can take this train, whatever this is, I guess. So we didn't have any football last game week, so it's gonna be a short.
I think a train implies we're on track. I don't think we're on track. This is definitely not a train.
So what mode of transportation can I compare this to?
A plane that's like, I don't know, lost an engine?
A boat.
Yeah, that's fine. A boat can still
or
stay afloat. Yeah.
A float. Yeah, just a float. No motor, no direction. We're just, swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Yes. Such a good movie. Finding Nemo, man. Yeah, so we're just gonna have 2 halves. We'll just do Twitter questions, fan questions, take our halftime pint, and then run through some FA/waiver picks, because we got a blank game week. A lot has happened, man, since we last potted. I remember when we were doing the socials for everything, we took a couple of days to release the pod, but in that time, Tuchel got fired, Potter got hired. I don't know. It felt a little bit of a weird moment, but as a Chelsea fan, you should be used to it, if anything.
Yeah, true.
Change in management when things go wrong. I'm not sure what to expect, to be honest. Yeah.
Chop and change every week.
Yeah, maybe, Maybe. I mean, Potter's just as bad as Guardiola, so...
What do you mean by just as bad?
I mean, rotation. Wasn't he really, really bad with rotation like last season? Not this season, maybe.
But my question would be, and I don't know that this wasn't necessarily a topic, but given that he's never managed across as many competitions as Chelsea would be in this year, is it gonna be viewed as bad or good, right? Like, is it necessary to rotate the squad, and will it actually be a benefit given that he's used to doing that already, that now he kind of has to do it with Chelsea playing across like multiple competitions in this condensed fixture schedule of a season?
Man, I just see it as multiple opportunities for him to get it right. Because I have no idea what he's going to do. This guy has played a number 10 as a deep-lying midfielder, played Trossard as a wing-back. I have no idea what the hell's going to happen, honestly.
How much of that was out of necessity as opposed to just being a mad scientist?
Well, yeah. You never know.
I mean,
you never know, honestly.
he has Lamptey on the bench, and after the hype, he hasn't even used him really. So I think some is like whatever he experimented with worked out, unless like Trossard's like one of the highest scoring fullbacks or wingbacks in recent times. Like ever since he switched to that role, he can't just stop scoring.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild, man. What has he done anything else mad at Brighton though? I don't think so.
Sold
Other than that, I mean, Pascal Gross as well, deployed as a wingback.
sold Dan Burn. Like, who sells Dan Burn?
Yeah, the legend that he is. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I expect our defense to improve. Right, Brighton were fairly tight at the back. Right,
Fair.
you'd think we have a better defense than Brighton, man for man.
I mean,
Yeah.
you would hope then that the time off and the moves happening now, like blessing in disguise, glass
Yeah,
half
you
full.
would think so.
Again, an extra few days on the training ground and being able to assess the quality of the actual players in front of him and not judging them as names on paper, right? So, I mean, it might work out from that perspective. I guess if we were to play like a parlor game and you were trying to predict the wildest move that he was gonna make, that you would be supportive of, what would you predict it to be?
Kepa over Mendy.
Oh, I was thinking that. I was, but I'm gonna shout Armando Broja to get a starting role. Yeah, I mean, the kid has talent. He's strong. He's good on the ball. He has a good shot on him. We've seen all his traits come out during his time at Southampton. Why not give him, a run out? And maybe Pulisic is reborn as an asset again. Who knows?
Playing at wingback?
Exactly.
Yes, buddy. You read my mind.
I mean, he has Cucurella
Anything
there.
is possible.
He has Chilwell. He has Reece James. I mean, switch Reece inside or move Chilwell like further up the pitch and play Cucurella at left center back. Play Pulisic at left wing back.
There you go.
Play Mountain.
Anything is possible, man.
Play Mountain, the CDM role that like McAllister took up. Like,
Boom.
Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, we'll see how things unfold. I mean, now's an exciting time. Like, if you have like free Chelsea assets, just go grab if you can.
oh yeah, for sure.
Because it's like free for all right now. Like you have nothing to lose at this point.
Yep.
Okay. I think now what we'll do is let's jump into the questions. So we've got a few from like our DMs and people just commenting on the post. As always, thank you so much for the support, as always. So I'll run through them and Kyle and Ryan, you take a crack at answering them. So our first question is from Gil Jacobs at Gil Jacobs 10. So his question is, with postponements in Game Week 7/8 followed by the international break, many teams won't play another Premier League game until October 1st. Who are the best injured players to stash that could be back shortly after the league restarts in October? Names that come to mind: DCL, Harry Wilson, Rodrigo, Pinnock, Niakate, and Konate. Thoughts, boys?
Kyle, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this question did definitely come up or come in before the announcement for the games that would be on. So we still have 7 games going ahead this game week 8. United and Leeds are not obviously playing. Chelsea and Liverpool and the aforementioned or previously mentioned like Crystal Palace, Brighton. So we still have 14 teams going for game week 8. So we have 1 game week and then the international break. So we got this mini break to give some of these players already additional time. Honestly, looking at the lists and the players that were mentioned, I think they're all good shouts. DCL, who we've talked about before, definitely comes to mind. Rodrigo for United, Martial. I think those are the top ones that I would look at, and 2 of the 3 of them are on my team, selfishly. So I'm happy that I don't have to go an extra blank game week. The nullified game week 7 gave me a great chance at hopefully getting these folks back, and now the blank game week hopefully gives me double game weeks where they'll be healthy and back to fine form and scoring. So glass half full, those are the ones that I'm looking at. More the attackers than the Pinnock, Konate, Niakate. I really want to see those high-profile attackers back and firing at full strength. On the flip side, obviously, and I know Ryan probably has some of these bad beats to talk about. Some of the players that obviously got injured as well, or will get injured, that is also the blessing in disguise. So maybe you want to target them, because now with 14 teams playing, we're going to have these tactical setups of who will actually try to win their head-to-head in game week 8 versus who's just going to punt and just wait or hope that maybe they have one heavy hitter, score a lot of points, and then the double game weeks hopefully fall in a way that are more beneficial for their head-to-heads, right? So I'm playing it from the perspective that I still want to win this week, but I'm sure there are other people that might not be. So maybe you want to just target other red flag players and give up a healthy body to somebody in your team, in your league, who's trying to get a win, right? So I don't know if that tactic also makes kind of sense, and if I jumped ahead on one of the other listener questions a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You probably did, but that's
I
okay.
know.
That's all right. I mean, who like out of these, surely like you're gonna have affected players like Mope drops off as an asset. I'm not sure who drops off for Harry Wilson. Like what Bobby DeCorvid Reed, or but like who the hell is even stashing this guy, right? I would think like Pereira keeps his spot.
We're still dealing
right?
with Fulham having all these new signed players as an example as well, right? So that's something that is missing, or not really missing, but adds a little bit of additional context. There's all these new signings that got done at a deadline that we haven't seen fully integrated into their like squads. So it's extremely hard to try to predict who you should be stashing outside of possibly some of these premium like attacking options. I mean, there's other players like Laporte and who else? Like there was Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle, and all these players that got red flagged or were missing for a couple weeks that could work themselves back.
So you don't want like a Junior Firpo?
No. No. Callum Wilson, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm leaning towards attackers more than defenders, and I'm going with like some of the high profile, high upside players who have either started the season on form or we know their quality, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I think Konate is not worth a stash though. Like he's the only name on this list that I would never touch. He's not even in the first 11. And Gomez didn't do horribly, but I mean,
Matip is back now, right?
Yeah, Matip is fine. He scored today.
And scoring. Yeah. Oh, I mean, timestamp. We're recording this after midnight on Wednesday, BST, Tuesday, EST.
Yep.
Afternoon, night, something like that.
Night-ish.
Yeah. I agree. I wouldn't be like looking at Konate at all. That's pure streamer. As soon as the lineups come out, just try and grab it really, really quickly. There are a couple of names that as well. I mean, to add to Kyle's like Martial and stuff like that aren't on this, that maybe you could be kind of aiming for. I think you boys kind of mentioned Callum Wilson, right? What about Matty Cash? Would you be trying to like trade him in at all? He was left out of the Poland squad,
yeah.
I think, for the international break. Yeah. So, I don't know. What about Andrew Robertson? I know Tsimikas got the assist for that Matip goal. Would you be trying to trade in Robertson? Silence is a great answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if the manager would actually let him go, right? That's the more of the problem.
I think this question, as I said, I think this is a good question, but I feel like it all depends on who the owners are and what their
Basically,
strategy
yeah.
is for game week 8, right? Like in our
Yeah.
league as an example, I know Ryan's opponent already stashed a full 11. Like similar to me, I think I stashed a full 10. I had a whole bunch of players that were blank game week 8. So it depends on if somebody really, really feels like they want to go for the win, and you could try to be opportunistic in shaking out a deal, or maybe people are just like, yeah, get us through international break, get us back to like a full fixture list, and then let's see how we kick on from there, right?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's my attitude. I'm going for my 5th loss in a row. So, I'm just going to be patient. Enjoy it.
Playing the long game.
So, yeah, exactly. Treat Game Week 8 like it's, another break. just watch football and come back into it. Yeah.
With your illegal roster, I'm pretty sure you're going to get that fifth loss.
I should leave it illegal just to confirm the loss. It'll just make it easier on everyone.
You might need the points against though, so don't do that
Don't-
and get 0.
Oh.
Don't forget though,
Yeah,
we do have
true.
a video from Kyle to come. Eh?
Hey, the next game week didn't officially start, so my video is still pending.
I mean, that high quality production requires a lot of time, right? So
Technically, the next game we came and gone.
Oh man.
I do want to throw out one name though that Ryan sneakily stashed.
Yeah.
Junior Stanislas. What's up, bro?
Back in training.
I read the info after you picked him up. Yeah, I saw that. I feel like who the hell is in charge of them right now? What's his name?
Gary
I
O'Neill.
don't even know his name.
That guy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that guy Niels. Yeah, is Gary gonna start Junior?
I
I feel
mean,
like he might.
you just need like 20 minutes and that's all he's good for in the season. But 20 minutes and he's going to do the world of wonder.
Oh, he's gonna smash it. I mean, he has an amazing fixture to smash it in as well.
He
so.
does. He really does.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I hope we answered that question. I have no idea. We went on so many different tangents, but it kind of does lead us into that next question, which Kyle, I guess, somewhat answered, which is from Robbie P at A Team of Karas. Which players would you drop from the 6 teams not playing in Game Week 8 if you have a chance of a win? Did you guys do any risky drops?
Oh, I did a few.
Oh yeah, I dropped everybody that I picked up for game week 7 essentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Broha or Mark Rocca, Chick Decore at Crystal Palace, Veltman. Like, I just went through and got myself a starting 11 on paper. People that had games, well, starting 10 at this point. I still have one more move technically to make, but I just went ahead and got rid of folks from Palace. As I said, French player at Chelsea, Leeds, and Brighton. And I mean, Palace kind of makes sense in my opinion. Their game was already going to be off. Well, they're in Brighton.
Yeah.
And after the break, they have Chelsea, Leeds, Leicester. So their fixtures aren't bad, but I just picked up Decore. And if you just picked up a player from Palace, then maybe you want to drop them. Brighton, they're obviously lost their manager, and God knows what they actually look like coming back after the break. I think their fixtures are a little bit more tough. So they have Liverpool and Tottenham when they come back. So that is a little bit more difficult. And then Leeds, I went ahead and dropped, as I said, player I picked up, but their fixtures are good after the break. So honestly, that was my game plan. It was more of, okay, these players were already expendable, even though I do like them, but I just want to actually try to win game week 8, given that I'm still bottom of our table.
Yeah, fair. I think for me, none of the goalkeepers from any of those teams are worth stashing. Even Alisson, like I would drop all. I have David De Gea. I stupidly spent one fab on Mendy, only to realize he also does not have a game. Immediately dropped him. And then I dropped
Instead of
David De Gea
stashing him
too.
on the IR.
But yeah, exactly. Well, he wasn't flagged at the time. When I grabbed him, he wasn't flagged. He only then became flagged.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dropped David De Gea, dropped Mendy, and now I have Leno. So I am with Kyle to a degree. Like, I want to field the full 11. I can right now. And while, I mean, if I think about my team, the best kind of asset I have from any of those teams is Aronson. And I'm holding. I don't think he's worth a drop, but more the expendable ones like Kyle mentioned, like Mark Roca, Tyler Adams, or any of those kinds of players, yeah, I would gladly drop.
Dropping anybody from United?
Oh yeah, I would drop a few of them. The ones that just don't put up the ghosties, like you keep Dalo obviously, but I don't know who's a good example.
Ronaldo.
Oh, I forgot I own him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that Chelsea, too turbulent, but a bit changed there. I don't think you drop anyone. United, I know it's the Manchester derby, like the first game back after international break, so that's what I was asking, if you want to drop anyone. But at the same time, it's a big game, so given United showing up for big games so far to start the season, I do expect them to put up a fight, but I don't know, that's a little bit of my bias kicking in. And then, yeah, Leeds, Palace, Brighton, Liverpool. I guess Liverpool was the only other one. Is there anybody worth dropping on Liverpool?
I would like to bring up a few names and see what you guys say. Drop a stash or whatever. And these are basically, I'm looking at people over 50% owned, so I'm assuming they're owned in most leagues. Joachim Anderson from Crystal Palace.
Drop.
Stash.
Michael Olise.
Drop.
Interesting. I'm assuming you're stashing both Eze and Zaha. You can't drop those guys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to Brighton. You're keeping Trossard. You're keeping Pascal Gross. Danny Welbeck.
I own him, and they have nobody else up top, so I'll stash for now. But if Brighton's new manager doesn't do anything, he's a soon to be dropped, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I mean, as I said, they have Liverpool and Tottenham after the break, and I think those are two tough tests, so I would be inclined to drop him or trade him. He might be a trade candidate.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. I'll take that as an option. Alexis McAllister, who's owned in more leagues than Danny Welbeck is, on penalties, can score from a direct free kick.
Yeah. I mean, I drafted him, right? And then I dropped him when I saw he was playing deep, but I'm way more keen on him now because I think he gets a more advanced role now.
Man, he already went through 3 different owners in this league. Yeah, I think you keep him.
Okay. I don't think like any of these you'd be stashing. I think you'd drop all of these guys. Solly March, Robert Sanchez, Veltman Kyle has dropped, but Moises Caicedo, Webster, you're not stashing any of these guys, right?
I mean, not talking my hand, but Caicedo is technically, if you looked at my failed waiver bid of $0,
I saw it.
Yeah, Caicedo is dispensable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, because going back to that point of new manager, unless they actually do give Lallana the job.
I mean, new manager and then at Anfield and then
play
against Tottenham, like, man.
Tottenham's an easy fixture, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Sporting just dispatched them.
Have you
today.
not seen the Sporting?
Exactly.
Exactly. Enter Matt Doherty, bro.
Can't wait.
Oh, yeah. Emerson Royal got nutmeg so dirty. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. All right. I mean, so for Chelsea then, like, I think it's the opposite of the teams that we've kind of been discussing so far, right? If you can stash them, try and stash them. But out of like, because the thing is, they're like a team like Man City. Most of their assets are over 50% owned, right? I don't know. I'm hard pressed to drop any of these guys just because of the quality that it is. I'm not being biased or anything, but yeah, I think like maybe the only person I'd be dropping is maybe like
Mendy.
Edward Mendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only person. Maybe Conor Gallagher.
Alba.
Unless you spend 104
Maybe.
fab on him.
I'd definitely drop Gallagher. I'd drop Jorginho. I'd drop pretty much anyone in the center of the pitch. Like,
Yeah.
even Kova is droppable. Like,
I'm not dropping Kovac.
yeah, that's fine. I just think he's droppable.
I'm accepting my loss. Yeah. Okay. So the other team, let's go to Leeds now real quickly. Jack Harrison, you're holding, right? Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously. You could drop Brandon Aronson, right? Like you guys said. Maybe.
I'm holding.
You're gonna hold? Alright, so
Yeah.
Kovacic for Aronson, yeah?
Yeah.
Good trade.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Bamford, are you dropping?
No, I'll hold.
Nah, I think you have to hold Bamford.
Any pen taker you can hold, I think.
Yeah. Same with Rodrigo.
Yep.
I say that after I say I'll drop Jorginho. Anyway.
Pascal Struijk.
Drop.
Hold as the person currently holding him.
All right, and finally Luis Sinisterra.
Hold.
Yeah, hold.
Okay. I mean, we kind of did talk about United already. They're a similar team to like Chelsea and I guess similar case sort of Liverpool. Let me see if I can pick out some name that you might be iffy about.
Malacia.
Malacia is the only one. Yeah.
Ooh. Not Lisandro Martinez as well. I'd throw his name into the ring of possible drop.
I think they're both the same kind of asset at this point. Probably both droppable if you absolutely need a spot. It's going to be tricky, of course, as I said, timing-wise, to know when. Because these players won't lock, right? The players that with postponed games. Or does it lock?
No. You can drop them at any time.
Right? So
I think you can drop them at any time.
Yeah, so that'll make it flexible for people that are chasing a win. But absolutely, I would say Malacia, Martinez, De Gea, even Varane, Casemiro.
Yeah.
I think they're all droppable.
Unless you spent like 60-something fab on Casemiro. Or was it 40-something?
44.
Or something stupid.
Even then, I think you look past it and just drop. Yeah.
Sunk cost fallacy, right? Like
Exactly.
At this point, the money is already spent.
Yep.
Yeah, true. Let me see if I can find a Liverpool name. Harvey Elliott.
Drop for me.
Drop.
Thiago's back.
Yeah. I mean, Thiago played, what was it, nearly 90 tonight, right?
Yeah.
You think he's... Yeah, I guess if he stays fit during international break.
He might get eased back, but I mean, it's not like they're even playing, so.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hopefully that gives some insight into what you can do to kind of help you win or lose your game week or whatever. I don't know. All right, let's go on to the next question. Draftopia had a similar question. Well, I mean, did kind of answer, right? It's from at PL Draftopia, who's actually starting his own podcast.
Nice.
I think with Drafting for Upside at Draft for Up. I don't know the Drafting for Upside guys Twitter handle, but check him out. I mean, Draftopia always writes some pretty neat threads, so definitely go give these guys a listen, give them some support, some love. Always happy to see new content creators come out of the draft ecosystem. But his question is similar question. In game weeks when teams have blank fixtures, do you get ruthless with your roster and go for the win? I'm not. I'm just gonna chill, take my loss. I don't know, eat some pie, something like that. I think these boys have kind of spoken about it already, so.
Yeah, I think it's team dependent. If you just happen to have a lot of blankers and they're expendable, I go for the win. Like,
yeah,
likewise. I mean, we already preempted this question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just going for the win every single week, no matter the costs.
yeah. Spoken like a true bottom of the table dweller.
Yep, of course.
Well, listen, you have the most money in the league, right? So, if there's anything, you get that trophy. Richest manager.
Look, judge me at the end of the season.
Next question, from Chris said at Chris said what? So De Gea, Estupinan, Thiago, Cresswell, in brackets Emerson replacing him, Anderson, Fofana out. So he's transferred out these guys, and he's brought in Leno, Tete, Ramsey, which I'm assuming is Jacob Ramsey, Leon Bailey, Akanji, and Botman in. I'm playing Haaland though, so we'll probably still lose.
Yeah, that's a lot of surgery just to lose. But honestly, we talked about basically all these names, and I don't see any regrets. I think he could have a sneaky chance at a victory, but yeah, Haaland is entirely Haaland dependent.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Wolves have been okay defensively though, haven't they?
Yes, but still, it's Haaland. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a question of how good has the opponent been. Until he doesn't score a hat trick in a game, I will not believe he's a human.
I mean, look, United beat Arsenal, who looked defensively solidly, right? Like,
No, they didn't. They're fake.
yeah, it was
What is
easy
so-
fixtures, but whatever.
I wouldn't say, I don't know if defensive solidly. Like Arsenal played good football.
They did. And they still are,
Yeah.
to some degree. I wouldn't have dropped, Thiago because he's now back, and if you held him this long, why? But the rest of them, yeah. Even though Fofana I would actually kept too.
Look, sometimes you just need to throw some chaos into the.
Oh, I agree.
Liverpool.
I
There
agree.
you go.
Oh, so I want I know Sanjay was asking us for ideas on segments for the pod, or wants to reach out to the community to get ideas on segments, right? So I answered the poll before it went out to the community, but I suggested that we drop.
Which still has to be released to the community. It's a
I
good
know, I
plug.
know.
Segue plug, you know.
So I answered let's try to come up with one football draft joke every episode, and so I was thinking about you ever heard the joke? What did the ox say to his child when he was leaving for school?
No, I don't know.
I have no idea.
He was like, "Bye, son."
Oh my god.
Hey, that is so good.
Then I was thinking what did the ram say to his son when he was leaving for school?
I have no clue.
So, enjoy your day, Jacob.
Wait. Oh my god.
What? I don't get that
Ramsey.
one. You're gonna have to explain that.
Ramsey.
Oh,
play on the last name, Jacob Ramsey.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely went over my head.
I mean, I kind of got it because,
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
It was so bad, but yeah.
I think that's a hard segment to have in every single week, unless Unless
It is-
we are crowdsourcing it from the community and we're getting them to sending a joke.
Oh, that would be so good.
Every single week, they have to send one in.
What is your best or worst jokes, and
Yeah.
we drop them.
yeah.
Yeah. And we could do that. We could definitely do that.
You get plugged.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So we're gonna be sending out a Google form or something like that. Yeah, we
Yep.
just want to get feedback from the community.
You know what mine was gonna be actually?
What's
Not
up?
to cut you off.
What's up?
My suggestion was gonna be it's kind of more targeted at our league, but if somebody like maybe we drop a Easter egg in it, and if somebody like catches it and posts it into the WhatsApp, some people were asking for some extra fab stimulus, then maybe they get like 2 fab if they find the Easter egg.
Oh, that's interesting, actually.
It's like a treasure hunt, literally.
Yeah. Actually, that would be sick. Yeah.
One fab.
I'll pay
though,
for
but-
it from my bank of fab. I'll be the banker.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Now it's getting spicy. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, so Google form, we'll get some feedback. Favorite segment, waste segment. And just new ideas, stuff that, the community, what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. We're always open to new ideas and always trying to give the best to this community. But back to Chris's list, the only person I guess I wouldn't be risking drops for, or maybe one or two, is maybe Jacob Ramsey and Botman? I'm not sure. And maybe Tete. The rest I kind of understand the punt for. Because, Ryan, you picked up a Kanji, right?
I wavered him when he first came into the league. Spent a massive 3 fab.
I mean, he has potential to get points, man. Potential.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the last question, though, just to wrap up this first half. So from one of our faves, our usual lads, Draftash, at Draftash, do you guys see Diego Costa being an asset? He went for 65 fab in my home league. He didn't do that, but he did pick him up in his International Genie League for free. He's expecting a red card against Man City, obviously, with some classic shithousery from Rodri and Diaz. Ryan, you tried to grab him. So did you, Kyle. I totally forgot about the waiver window, not gonna lie. You expecting anything from Diego Costa?
I am. Not anything great, but I don't think he's going to get as many red cards, yellow cards as everybody's been talking about. He's literally never gotten a red in Prem yet. Though we have VAR now, so who knows, that could change. I think he's the kind of player Wolves need, some kind of like target man to find, but he's not the Costa of old. I would not have spent so much as 65 fab. I think my bid was like 13 or 17 or something like that.
Yeah, my bid was a whole 0, so shows how badly I wanted him. I mean, I agree, or I salute rather, like Tash picking him up for free. Like that's what I think he's worth. I don't think he's a bad punt, but I mean, I didn't even see what his rostership, let me get that quickly, ended up being so far. But I think what happened with the break is he's 23% owned. Clearly, a majority of people did not actually realize that he was available, so people didn't go after him.
Exactly.
So now we're in a position where you could pick him up. I think the wisest thing to do is wait and see lineups and then decide if you want to go after him or not. Or if you're a gambling person, pick him up and then maybe drop him. But the first fixture is hard at City. And you would argue that if Jimenez is fit, Jimenez will always be starting and maybe Costa will always be coming off the bench, right? As a super sub.
Yeah.
Can he last 60 minutes? Can he last 90 minutes? Who knows? But I wouldn't be rushing out to get him like right now. I'd play the wait and see game.
Yeah, but Sasa got his start as soon as he came into the league. Wasn't Jimenez bench, and then Jimenez only came on because Sasa tore his ACL.
Yeah, Sasa is literally the opposite player. Sasa's 25 coming off of scoring how many ever goals like last season. So I think it's different circumstances, right? I think if you looked at Sasa as a new boy and the new boy against Southampton, like versus Jimenez, I would say that's a favorable fixture. Against City, I would argue like you probably are not throwing Diego Costa into the like Lions den, right?
Yeah, fair.
Maybe. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
the Wolves den. I don't know. That reveal that
Okay. That I mean, for the
Yeah.
reveal video, yeah, he's with the
the
pickup.
reveal video was good, right? I'm like, yo, like this makes me want to go like sign him to my team.
Yeah, so good, man. So good. All right. Ryan, you don't have anything else to add on that, right? If not,
Nope.
I think
Nope.
we can take our halftime pint. So we will see you guys after the break. And we are back. Okay, so we will try to run through these 7 fixtures as quickly as possible. Kyle, you can jump in with home teams, Ryan, away teams, and I will jump in with any bullshit that I have. I don't know. We'll just try to have some fun.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Love you too, Kyle. All right, Kyle. We started things off with Aston Villa versus Southampton. Friday fixture, by the way, guys. Friday deadline. Well, not deadline, but yeah, you know.
Kickoff.
Yeah, thing.
Yeah.
Whistle.
I mean, Aston Villa, even though in the last segment we had the corny Ramsey joke, honestly, under 50%, I think Ramsey's probably the best bet. Maybe Douglas Luiz, depending on if he gets to start, but not a lot of very slim pickings here. Boubacar Kamara also is there at 10% ownership. So I think you look to see who starts. I would argue that probably 2 out of the 3 start in midfield with John McGinn. So from that perspective, I'd be targeting whichever is available in your league. More likely than not, it would be one of Douglas Luiz or Boubacar Kamara, who you would be targeting for this fixture.
I mean, speaking of John McGinn, would you be dropping him if you owned?
I want to say no because of that midfield like trio of options. He's like the most nailed. I think we still have questions over their performance and their form. Maybe the break, and that's going to be something interesting to see. Did this break help in terms of managers being able to instill stuff on the training ground? So it'll be interesting to see if it gives a jolt into some of these teams that were underperforming to start the season now that they have more time with new signings and just more time on the training ground to mesh. So that'll be interesting to see, but I wouldn't be dropping McGinn as a nailed starter in this like 11.
Yeah, especially on a blank game week. I wouldn't drop any nailed player right now.
Yeah.
So at Southampton, not many players that I think are warranting pickups. And like I said, you can kind of wait on the team sheet on this one. Salisu, Peru, these guys have a decent fixture. I mean, Aston Villa hasn't been great. And they both put up some good ghost points, so they're worth grabbing. The only other one I might plug was like Adam Armstrong, but I'd wait and see on him.
Yeah, you never know who's gonna start up front.
Correct.
Okay, so next game, Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. Kyle, anyone from the 22 new signings?
I mean, 22. Didn't they get another one? Didn't Serge Aurier get signed now?
Serge Aurier did. Yep.
So, I mean, is that 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane to try to keep track
And
of.
counting.
And counting.
January to come.
Yeah, so let's see who's even on this team. Mind blown. The biggest name, though, and I think he's been like a consistent shout. Maybe he'll drop off after this week when he smashes against Fulham, but Morgan Gibbs-White, their record signing of the bunch. I think he's only at 50% owned coming off of a good performance last time out against, or good Fantrax performance against Bournemouth. So I think he would be the first one to shout. And then the only other one that I would call out, and I added him, was Renan Lodi, who got in before the deadline and has played 2 games. In the 6-0, he got 6 points, and even in the loss against Bournemouth, he's put up 7.5. So honestly, I think for somebody who's been in this terrible 11 or terrible performing 11 and still coming up with positive points, now with a good run of fixtures after Fulham as well, I think that he would be one that I'd look at. He's still only at 26% owned.
Yeah, fair. I owned him. I dropped him despite the good run of fixtures, just because he got back-to-back negative points. But no, I agree. That's a good show. At Fulham, I mean, if it's any fixture you want to target for defensive clean sheet, I guess it's this one, I think. So some of the assets below 50%. Kenny Tete, 30% own. He's actually gotten 2 assists for the season so far. So, he can do things. Not all the time. Who else is there? Oh, Leno. I grabbed him. He's been decent on the saves percentages. I think Kyle told us this already. Yeah. And I'm expecting, for them to let in a lot of shots, so he will get the opportunities to make those saves. And the last one is Anthony Robertson. He's, I believe, a late fitness test for this game. He may be assessed for that ankle injury he went off early with, but given the time and the break, he might be back. So if he makes the team sheet, he's one to grab, because we've seen what he can do in the past.
Kyle, you wanna?
Oh, I was just gonna jump in and correct myself.
Fix your...
I just realized that silence was me realizing that something didn't seem right in my call out of Lodi having positive points over 2 terrible results. Then I realized that I actually changed the league I was looking at to my boosted scoring dynasty league. Now it gave me an idea though, where I should actually pull both players. I should pull the list of both players and actually put them side by side and see who's performing better with these boosted defensive settings or scoring options versus just looking at standard Fantrax scoring. But yes, that's my Freudian slip earlier, where he looks better on paper, or he looks better in real life than he looks on paper, and hence Ryan dropped him, and now I picked him up.
Yeah.
If you ever want something to do with any free time that you have, you can always look at how our league would look given your other scoring system.
Yeah, I considered it, but then I punted that to the end of the season, and I just simplified that thought to be a comparison of different scoring options. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
This is obviously a mini tangent, but yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that it would be interesting to do. And I mean, folks could write in and let us know, what are the not weird, but different scoring options that people use, and different things that people think should be included or not. Because I think we're always game to tinker and throw new ideas out there as well in terms of what we should be advocating for as a I don't want to say a significant member of the community, but just as a member in the broader Fantrax community.
Yeah, I'm still surprised that balls recovered is not a default category in Fantrax.
Yeah, I mean, we could look at all the different versions of fantasy football that exists, right? I know you guys are big Champions League fantasy folks, and yeah, stuff there, and even the chips and different strategies that people employ. It's always interesting to see kind of the different things that people are thinking about as they're making these decisions, right? Because we give advice on a generalized level, but
yeah,
everything that people do is still a little bit more tailored or custom.
Yeah, fair.
All right, so moving on to Saturday games. First one, Wolves versus Man City.
I mean, we just talked about Costa, and although he's 23% owned, I don't want to recommend him unless he starts. Maybe then. I think if he's still available, like, I'd say grab him. Why not? Like, just as a punt. And then, like, the more, I guess, consistent name that we've called out before, João Moutinho, I think at 34% owned. Coming off this long rest, I think he should be up for it. I think he's shown a lot of moxie to start the season. He's really been getting at it, even though he's the old head in the team. So he's probably my overall favorite asset in this squad. The new boys also are still somewhat like lowly owned, Guedes and Nunes, but somehow, like, as I said, big matchup against City. I like João Moutinho as like my favorite pick of the bunch.
Fair. At City, of course, as we've mentioned several times before, not many of their players are lowly owned. I'll just plug two defenders, Ake, Akanji, 46 and 29% respectively. Again, well, Akanji I'd say is probably worth a grab, especially if you own another centre-back like me. I own Stones and Akanji, and I'm hoping one at least plays. But Ake at 46% owned, he started the season ahead of Stones. We still don't know if that was due to fitness reasons or what, but if he's there and he makes the lineup, grab him.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see also like who starts in the Champions League, right? So maybe that gives a little bit of a indication, a prediction of who might be likely to play at the weekend. But yeah, time will tell.
Fair.
Also, Laporte has gone from a broken red to a solid red flag. I think I saw a picture of him running again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but
he got a setback.
Yeah, I don't think he was gonna play before the international break, right?
Yeah, that's what I read.
Yeah. But yeah, food for thought. Okay, so next game on the Saturday is Newcastle versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, on the Newcastle side, I mean, I think we put in technically nobody that we would recommend. Like looking at the actual list, yeah, Willock is ticked over 50% at this point. So technically, by our rules, not somebody we would recommend. I think we talked about Elliot Anderson last game week as like an under the radar punt at like literally 1% owned. So I think that remains one of these, why not type of players. And then assuming now that Isak is starting, I think Chris Wood falls out as an option to recommend. The only other option under 50% that maybe we would recommend, or I would recommend, is Ryan Fraser, who came up, I think, as well as an option in one of our chats on previous pods. But I'd keep an eye on if he gets a start in the actual 11. But yeah, Newcastle has oddly enough ended up, based on a good start to the season, as a pretty highly owned squad. So not a lot of under the radar picks here. Yeah,
I mean, I like that Fraser shout because ASM might be busy opening up another toy store. Did anyone see that tweet?
No.
He opened a toy store or something like that. Or he like paid for all the kids to buy toys or something like that.
Interesting.
It was so sweet, man. That guy's like such a awesome human being. Go check it out, Cal. Go look it up.
Yeah.
Ryan, what about at Bournemouth?
So it's interesting you plugged Fraser because this is his old club. That would be a good chance for him to, come back and let the fans hate him even more. So Bournemouth kind of have a turn in fixtures starting, maybe not now. Newcastle is a tough fixture, but from next game week. But so Tavernier, I'm pretty sure I butchered that. 33% owned. Solanke, 48% owned. I'm somewhat keen on both of these guys. So much so on Solanke that I'm actually considering him in FPL, which is insane. But yeah, it's just the fixture run is so good, and it's a blank game week. If you need a player, neither of these guys I would say are a bad shout.
And Solanke has pens, right? I assume
does.
so.
Yeah.
Okay. Next game, Spurs versus Leicester.
You, I think, are probably the best person to talk about this guy because you've been holding out hope for him literally all season. But Matt Doherty, I think, is a decent shout. I wouldn't put him as the number one pick. I'd actually put number one as the other defender who's actually been playing, and that's Ryan Sessegnon. Still sitting at 49% owned, so just under our threshold to be considered, versus Doherty at 38%. I think we've talked about it with respect to City, and we talked about it with respect, like in the earlier segment or earlier like overview, and we have also talked about it earlier in the season. If folks have been listening to the pod, still high on, and that's that we're still high on Spurs defense. And if there's the opportunity to double up and stash, I would not be against it. Of course, this is coming off the back of literally them losing in the Champions League earlier today. So maybe your wish comes through and Emerson Royale gets benched and Doherty gets a start, and similarly Sessegnon gets a start as well. So those are the two shouts. Outside of that, nobody else that I'm really looking at. I think that everywhere else on the pitch is kind of nailed or wholly on. So those are the only two names that jump out to me.
Yeah, I mean, Emerson Royal missed a big chance. And then if you watch the replay for the second goal that they conceded in the Champions League, Royal nearly trips and falls in the center of the pitch, then casually makes his way back to get nutmegged in the box. And after they concede, you can see Romero just look at him and be like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's any time for him to get dropped, it's now, right? Or go pick up Jed Spence if you want to be that bold.
Yeah, I think that's too big of a risk, man.
That is big.
It's a big
out
call.
there. That's a huge goal.
I think the only one other thing I'd call out from the Champions League game is that they didn't make any substitutions. Well, they made one, which was Son for Kulusevski, but there was no defensive substitutions in that game. And of course, like, it was a close game and the goals were scored right at the end. But maybe there's a little bit of rotation to happen on the weekend after they just played Champions League this week.
Yeah, good observation. At Leicester, we have not been so keen on Leicester, right? Have we? But Rodgers kind of changed it up last game.
I don't think anyone has been.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, people are surprised that Rodgers was the next one sacked before Tuchel was, but yeah. We saw Rodgers change it up, played two up front. We want to believe that he'll persist with that because it made them look a lot better. They did not win the game, but they had goals in it. They just looked better. I mean, yes, they conceded 5, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, the two that started up front were Patson Daka and Kelechi, right? Both are under 50% owned. We probably expect Vardy to get his start again, so he might be paired with one of those two up top. Daka, in our opinion, has the higher chance of starting alongside Vardy. So he gets the nod ahead of Iheanacho for me, but if Iheanacho does make that starting team sheet, I would gladly grab him.
All right, next game, which is on the Sunday, Brentford versus Arsenal.
Yeah, Brentford. I think we talked about Vitaly Janelt multiple times before, right? I think he's still sitting at 21% ownership, and he's been putting up points. I think he had over 7 in the last 3 games. So, and one of those was obviously off the bench, but I think he remains like the best shout in this squad. I think in the earliest segment, there is still stashes, and I feel like Pinnock is... I don't know how far Pinnock is away. I think he's been running and probably could come back after the international break, but I think he's somebody to keep an eye on. But in terms of actual usable options right now, I feel like Janelt is a first shout. The other one that I was curious on, and I think he remains a little bit of a conundrum. Obviously, not to our listeners who weren't as bold as Sanji to go at him when he got added to the player pool, but Damsgaard. Sanji, given that you paid, 21 fab for him, and he's still literally not started a game, not really had any contribution over his first, I guess, month in the Premier League. What are you planning to do with him? And would he be somebody that you'd be targeting as an under-radar pick?
I'm starting him this game week.
Well, you obviously
I'm
are.
absolutely looking forward
You're
to it.
planning to lose. So, yes, of course you are.
Watch Nam score like a brace and it's just Sanchez wins his
I
game.
know, right?
Ay, ay,
Oh,
ay.
it's gonna be fantastic. I mean, there's still a talented player in there. I mean, Ryan, you bid on him as well.
I did.
I think you were the second highest bidder. No, third highest bidder. Something. You bid on him.
He doesn't
basically.
remember. That's so long
we know
ago.
what he can do. Yeah, I know, right? If only I had saved that money and bid on Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
But I still have hope. And I think my squad has enough depth now that I've done some trades and changed things around to I think I can afford to stash him. Yeah, so I'm just gonna foolishly hope and pray that he picks up some kind of form. And when he does, I'm gonna keep him and trade out my other midfielders maybe.
Wow.
So let's see. I don't know.
Nice.
Your squad, your squad has so much depth that it is invalid.
Yeah, exactly.
If I was advising
He has so much depth that he has one more player than is eligible.
I mean, if I was being realistic and giving advice to other managers, I think you can afford to drop him. Obviously, I'd never take my own advice. But I think if you can find a manager that believes in his talent, go trade him off as well. Because I do think that managers that are aware of what he can do or know of his potential will stash him if they can. Others will just look at the, points per game or points he's put up so far for the season and just not bother with him. So it depends on the types of managers that you have in your league. But I think on average, you can probably drop him. Yeah.
This unbridled optimism is clearly why we should have just started a dynasty league for you. Because then you could just sign all these players and hope and pray for when they become viable fantasy assets.
I'd still have an illegal roster, Kyle.
I know. I mean, if we had to keep a counter for it, there's multiple times in this season that you've had an illegal roster. Too many midfielders, now too many players altogether. You're on a roll.
I love them all, man. So many good assets. I know if I drop any of them, somebody's gonna get streamed. So,
and they bring home the L's. Okay, let's go on to Arsenal. Given their start, barely any players are freely available, at least below that 50% ownership level. I am shocked that Tomiyasu's ownership is 48%, given he hasn't started a game yet. But you know what? If he makes the team sheet, grab him. I'm a bit disappointed that their European game got called off, the Europa game, because then that just means there's going to be less rotation. The squad is probably going to roll out the same squad that has been playing. Partey is an outside shot, but I don't think he's going to be fit for the weekend, or at least pay attention to it. Yeah. That's about it.
yeah, that sounds like good punts. So let's move on to our final fixture, which is Everton versus West Ham. There's a bit of a long list for Everton, but Kyle, I think you can filter through with your better judgment.
I don't know if I really have better judgment with this squad. I mean, if it was up to me, you know what my punt would be, right? Mr. Rondon. As I punted on in game week 2 in multiple leagues. But honestly, looking at this list, not a lot of whole or highly owned assets. I think Iwobi is the steady Eddie, our type of player. sitting at 46% owned, who, if you need like a pick to maybe pip the win, I would go after. Outside of that, Mope, he started last game, got the full 90 minutes, looks like the best option that they have available, assuming that DCL is still out. I think that Mope is a good shout. And then Onana, less high on. I think he's pushing to be included in our Steady Eddie group of players, but I would put it will be over him if it was just assessing between those two, right? So it kind of depends on like what you need. It's the last game of the game week, so really it's tactical at that point. And if you need to go for a win, high upside, or if you have a bigger deficit, I would say Mope is probably a bigger, like high risk, high reward type of punt. If it is just say I need 7 points to sneak a victory or to offset for somebody in my opponent's 11, I think it will be my shout. And then failing that, Onana is 21% owned. And then outside shouts would be the defenders, but I feel like this game will have goals, so I don't really want to go after Mikolenko or Patterson, but I think those two are nailed as the wing backs. So if you need a body, I think that they're a little bit lower floor, maybe the same upside as like Iwobi and Onana.
Yeah, fair. And well, they're playing West Ham, who haven't started the season the brightest, but I mean, in their Conference League game, which actually wasn't called off after the Queen passed, they showed up, right? Like, they won it. I think Antonio got a goal and assist. I think Emerson got a goal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shout Emerson at 12% owned. Has he really displaced Creswell? Like, anyway. I saw, Sanchez, you added Dawson here. I was shocked to see that he's back and ready. He's no longer flagged on Fantrax. 6% ownership. We know the kind of ghosties he can put up. Such an aerial threat. Yeah. That is the kind of player they need back to get that solidity going again, I think.
Yeah, I think he came on as one of the late subs in that conference game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, he pops up with a goal every now and then, too. You never know.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Cool. So that's it. Those are the picks. That is the pod. Yeah, not a bit of a dull one this game week, especially lack of football. I mean, that's why we thank God for Champions League fantasy or NFL or whatever 1,000 other games that Cal plays or drafts. Who knows? He's probably drafting while we're recording right now.
No drafts now.
Why do you think he was on his Dynasty League? He was doing slow draft.
No, honestly, I mean, if you want to peek behind the curtain, I was just thinking, like Diego Costa, did he get added to the player pool? So I guess if we were to continue the banter, I think I sent you guys the last pod. I think I mentioned I was doing a draft, and that was in the Dynasty League. That was a slow draft, a supplemental as we called it, because they had Lotley player pool when we did our first initial like setup draft.
Right.
So since then, all the way through the actual transfer deadline closing, all the new assets were added, but none of them were available in the game. So that was a slow draft, so a 4-hour clock that we were doing for that the last time we talked. Coming out of that, I picked up Isak and Nunes or Guedes. I can't even remember. And then the youngster Nonto, who apparently is an Italian international at 19 or whatever. So I was doing a lot of research as I was trying to add 4 more players to my squad. But now I'm trying to figure out like how I should be setting up in that league because I didn't look at it since then. So that's a little bit of peek behind the curtain. I feel good, as I mentioned before, and how I've performed there more than our home league because this one has actual money on the line. So I feel like I'm a little bit more invested in making sure that I actually try to win and put up highest score every single week. So
you're not just having fun there then?
No, I'm not doing all the wild trades. Which is funny. I feel like listeners, if they were following my journey since joining the pod this season, they might think that I'm a wild, loose cannon who just is doing things just to piss them off and trigger them on Twitter. But I think I'm a little bit more measured and a little bit more savvy, which is why I could afford to have a little bit of fun in this league and try to keep things spicy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, all you need to do is make top 8, right?
Yeah, that's the rule, right?
Yeah,
You just need to get playoffs and anything can happen, right? But yeah, and this one is a little bit more long term, is dynasty. So even when assessing trades and trying to figure out like who will be good, like the conversation with Damsgaard earlier, like I don't have him, but if it was assessing an under 21 player, like I don't know, Broha, who's still 21 and eligible for or like youth slots, I would be trying to figure out like, okay, like what is he worth to the guy that drafted Oba, right? Or because stacking and this kind of stuff ends up being like way more of a long-term play,
right?
Where, as I said, there's young players who might get a spot in the 11 at some point. So you're zooming out and looking over next season or the course of their actual contract, and it becomes a little bit different strategically.
Nice, man. I mean, I have faith in you to leave the bottom last spot or whatever, you know.
I mean, I have faith in myself too. But you guys will just like roast me every week because you want me to keep making a humiliating like manager press conference video, right?
Oh, I can't wait for the next video.
Yep.
Yeah. You said you had something special planned, so yeah, we'll see what it is.
I was too lazy to do it, but yes, I still should do it. I have a concept that I drew up.
Listen, if you reach this late in the pod, we are still welcoming donations for Kyle's videos, so let me know. All right. I think what we'll do now is sign off, and hopefully we have some football to talk about the next time you listen to us. So until then, peace.